Hi, good morning, and welcome to all. For those that don't know me, I'm Dr. Lenore Murciano Luna, and I have really felt inspired in the last few weeks and months to really start coming on here a little bit more and live, and really creating this space of healing and inspiration during this time of the great change and great awakening. And it's really a time of, in many ways, a great transformation where we're seeing the chaos all around us. And I really feel we're being asked to step in our own divinity and to reclaim our divinity. And so this is really the time of the new era of feminine sovereignty, where we um, can go all the way, can really reclaim our divine nature, our sacred nature in our physical bodies. So, for the healers out there, for those that are um, really wanting to make these changes and see these changes on the earth, for those transformational agents, for the light workers, for all of us that are kind of, in many ways, we're leading this front line of this consciousness shift, this, that many call it also the ascension. And it's not always easy because we're kind of like straddling both worlds. We're in the 3D world and we're in higher non-dual worlds. And so we're moving along, transforming. And I just wanted to really come on here live and have a gathering space where we can share some of these messages that I've been receiving of the feminine since 2010, actually. So for today, the message is really around the time of the cycle of the moon that we're in. So we're in a very, very, very special time. Today, tomorrow, up till Friday at 3:30 Eastern time will be under the influences of the new moon in Libra, which is higher levels of love. However, right now, which is usually the 3 days before the new moon, we come into what we call the dark moon time. And it's really where the moon's reflecting less and less and less light until it comes to zero light, and then it starts a new moon. So we have this cycle every about 29, 30 days. And the dark moon is really a time of transformation. It's really a time where we can tune into the frequencies. And even though we can do this transformational work and release work and dissolving work at any time during the month, we're really supported at this time. And so you might be feeling your energy really low. You might be feeling not a lot of desire to move out into the world, and you might be feeling more either lack of energy or like just more into yourself. And this is because there is this frequency shift that wants us. It's almost like it actually is asking of us to go inward, to tune in to the inner realms, and to allow ourselves to consciously bring to the table that which we want to dissolve, that which we want to dissolve. So that which is getting in the way of our highest, of our realization of our highest self, of the realization of our divinity, our true self. And usually those are states of conditioning, states that we've experienced of fear, from trauma, which I believe we all have layers and layers of. grief, or any state of separation, even layers of unworthiness. So all of this conditioning that we're transforming in this 3D world, and in order to actually realize our light, that's the journey. We have an opportunity now. We're actually being very, very supported in this moment. Um, and here's the thing that I've seen and I believe greatly, that as we're doing the work, as we're facing our deepest fear, as we're really willing to confront these layers and layers of that we've been really indoctrinated with, um, of fear, of unworthiness, especially as women, in our bodies, of shame, etc. We're not just doing it for ourselves. Yes, we might be, it might come up and we might be triggered for ourselves and our own, history and our own thought processes and our own trauma. However, as we're doing it consciously, we're also transmuting the collective level. We're transmuting this layer, this field of fear and heaviness and darkness that that really kind of clogs up the light that we are, and the light that's coming in, because we're getting a lot of light also um, being poured onto the planet at this time, in this great awakening, this great transformation. So we're doing it for the collective, and that, that as light workers, as conscious beings that really have already been awakened to that reality. And there's millions and millions of us now awakening, which is really beautiful to see. There's more and more people um, really talking about these truths. And there's many ways, there's many paths. The path of the conscious feminine medicine is really a path that was shown to me. It started about 10 years ago and has been coming through um, in a whole new way, you know, uh, to heal our own divide and to really allow the feminine to come through us. But more on that another day. For right now, I wanted to just do a little bit of a process where we can dive into this time, this really auspicious time of the dark moon, and just kind of give you some pointers on how one way that you could work with the dark moon, that you can start to dissolve, to reclaim your divinity right now during this time up to Friday midday, depending on where you are. So, the first thing that we could do is, and the way that I work with the dark moon, one of the ways is to really first come into realization that you are divine light, and that you are here in this moment reclaiming your divine self, reclaiming your divinity, your sacredness. And then let yourself, I'm actually going to just kind of talk through it. I'm not going to give enough time to actually do the process, because you can go on and do that later on tonight in your own in your own privacy. But then let yourself really feel and ask and invite the divine light to come in. The divine light of your being, your individuated soul light in the place where it is not affected from the conditioning and the dualities and the traumas that we've all been exposed to. And then realizing that the light, which is one of a strong message for today, that the light is greater than the fears, than the different states of separation that you've experienced, even the places where you doubt, which is also based on fear, where you feel unworthiness, where you feel shame. And so the light, the love is greater than any of that. And so the second step would be to actually sit with yourself and realize what your greatest fear is in this moment. What have you been carrying still from the past? What has shown up this month? Greatest fear, greatest, maybe even judgment against yourself, because we all hold these levels of judgment that is also in the way of reclaiming our divinity. What is, maybe it's shame, maybe it's unworthiness. So, what are these places of separation that you have identified with, that you think of yourself as, oh, yes, I'm a person that feels this. And that's not really who you are. So, what we want to do is allow those to surface. And we can just work with one, whatever trust the intelligence in your body. This whole process is really about acknowledging this intelligence, the wisdom in your being. You feel through your body. And so you can ask what what does my heart really want to release, dissolve, or bring to the table, so that I can start to surrender this. And then we do that. And so then we name it. And we name whatever that fear is and bring it to the table and surrender it to the divine self, to the divine consciousness that's all around us, to the great mother, to source, by whatever name you want to call her. And as we're doing this, we could use our breath, or we could use some of the sound codes that I work with. And if we could just breathe deeply into our bellies with our breath, knowing that the breath is, taps into that divine intelligence and then creates that bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the worlds. And we can start to surrender it to our breath, knowing that essentially we're really surrendering it to the light and to the great love of that manifests everything. And doing that process until we feel like it actually moves us, it actually clears us. And, it's not always easy to move through different states of fear that we've really invested in all of our lives and maybe even past lives. But gently, little by little, we can do this process with our breath, or using even the ah sound. Ah. The ah opens the heart. It's one of those sound codes, and it starts to transmute. And you start to enter into these realms um, that are of transmutation, this alchemy process that starts to transform your lower self, or the conditioned self, um, or whatever you have thought of yourself as till now, and starts to dissolve that into greater levels of love, which is what your divine essence is. It's just greater levels of love. So even though, sometimes we even fear when we think of dissolving, because we don't know, yes, I want to release my fears, or I want to release this unworthiness, but, I'm not sure what I will be when I do that. I'm not sure what does that mean? Where am I going to land? And that brings us to the third point, which is to really allow yourself to land in the love. Because underneath all of our conditioning is our essence, is source, which is love. It's the unconditioned love. It's the divine love, the love that loves us no matter what we're doing, no matter how conscious we are or how angry we are. We are love. And that dimension is there. It's not only there, but it's who we are. So we're always going to land in love. We cannot not land in love. We are love. That's what our essential self is. And even though we might not have a picture of what that looks like, okay, who am I if I let go of these things? And to our human self that's used to functioning from our conditioned self, our thoughts of who we are, or the labels that we've given ourselves, that's a very scary process. But to our essence, to the love that's there, it's just allowing us to break free. It's our liberation. And it's really about trusting that, and starting to reclaim that you are that love. So um, take some time today and for the next few days until Friday, and see how the process goes, and let yourself journal and do whatever you do to connect with sacred space, essential oils, smudging, prayers, movement, breath. Bring it all in, drumming, and enjoy the process. Blessings and much love, and we'll speak soon.